This video will show you how you fit roof rails and roof bars to a VW T5 with a pop top. I'm going to attempt to fit roof rails to my pop top so that I can put surfboards and roof box or whatever on top. I'm going to drill through the pop top, which I'm really not looking forward to. You can only really get it wrong once, so here's to hoping. If I can do this, you can do this. I'm a aspiring but pretty poor DIYer, so I'll try and detail it step by step and show you what I've done. First off, what I'm going to try and do is get the roof rails out, get the roof bars out, put them all together, because I need to work out what distance the rails can be based upon the restriction of the length of the roof bars. Haven't got anything out yet, so that's what I'm going to do now. So I bought these roof bars online. I'll share the link in the video. The end caps go on. I have actually read somewhere that people tend to cut these down to allow for the width of the pop top. So these kind of pop on and off. And what I'm going to do is just rest it on top of the pop top to see, and put the roof rails on top as well, to see whether the width of these as they are is okay, or whether I'm going to need to cut them down. So good news, it looks like I'm not going to have to cut the roof bars down. Obviously I want the fixings to go between the canvas and the outside edge of the pop top, rather than going through the inside of the canvas, so that if any water does get through, then it's just going to sit outside the canvas. There's a chance, once I've got them on, I'm going to try and line up the fixings with the existing hinge brackets on the underside of the pop top. So there's a chance that that may end up slightly in, which means I might need to take a little bit off the roof rails, but at the moment it's looking okay. So what I'm going to do now is pop the pop top and work out where the hinges are, and if there are any fixings at the back here, because that's where the hinges are, that I can put the back bracket through, which means there's one less hole to drill. So we've got 4 holes to drill on each side. The hinges are fixed into some kind of bracket that sits within the fiberglass of the pop top, so there's no see if I show you what I mean. So you'll see here there's no kind of fixing anywhere that comes through from the underside of the hinge, so either way I'm going to have to drill through the roof of the pop top for it, but yeah, hopefully if I can go through the bracket, then that would be great. Right, I'm going to take these off, pop the pop top, and then put the roof rails back and line them up and see how we go. Right, now I haven't put the pop top up all the way for obvious reasons, because I need to be able to line up the rail and be able to reach it. So I've kind of popped up a little bit, and I'm going to see now, I'm going to put the roof rail against it and see where that sits on top of the... Okay, so now the pop top is up, I can show you the underside of the roof in a bit more detail. So the idea is if I can go through this hinge plate, then it's going to spread the load of that screw going through. So you can see here, these are the bolts at the moment which bolt this hinge onto the pop top, and you can see they don't come out the other side. So there must be some kind of fixing inside the fiberglass, I'm guessing. So my plan is to drill through that end hole, probably. Yeah, it is. I'm definitely going to that end hole, and that will provide me with my first fixing for the roof rails. I'm all lined up. I've got the hole I'm going to drill through. Wish me luck. So I've drilled the hole. That was kind of a bit of a pilot hole. I'm going to have to drill out the hole on the bracket slightly, because the bolt that's going through is, wherever it is, it's slightly too thick to get through the hole that's already pre-drilled on the bracket. So I'm going to just go through that again with a slightly bigger drill bit. These are the bolts that came with the roof rails, and I'm not sure they're going to be long enough. So I've nipped down the screw fix and I've bought some slightly longer ones. So these I think are 75mm or 70mm. I've gone and bought some 80mm, so that I've got a bit more length if I need it, because I'm going through the hinge as well as the roof. So obviously well, they're M6, so I'm going to go through here with a 6mm drill bit, and then that should allow this to go through that hole. Hopefully now the bolt should might need to go slightly larger. So I'm going to go for a 7mm drill bit through there, or maybe a 6.5, up in stages. Job's good. So I'm going to get the rail on now, and I'm going to put the I bought some nylock bolts, and this was a tip from someone who'd had one done professionally, and the fitters had forgotten to, well, they put a normal bolt on, which is well, asking for trouble really. So I've bought some nylock bolts, nuts, sorry, not bolts, nylock nuts, and some split washers. So the plan is put the roof rail on, put this through here. I've got a washer that I'll probably stick on the other side, then a split washer, then a nylock nut, and then see how we go. I've got my bolt washer that I'm going to stick through here. Then on the underside, I'm going to go washer, split washer, then nylock. It's probably worth mentioning that the hole that this bolt goes through, it's like a channel, so you can slide slightly forward and slightly back with it. So what I'm going to do for the moment is just not even really do this up, because I'm also not sure. Ideally, amazing if I can just put this up a little bit. Amazing if I can just drill straight through like this. That would be amazing. It'd be so quick. But I'm not sure for the moment, so I don't want to go tightening this up and then finding out I can't. So I'm now going to line up the front so that it's straight, because at the moment it's on the wonk a bit. And then I'm going to drill. I don't know if I should tighten this one up so we don't get any movement. Maybe I will tighten it up and then I can loosen it off. Yeah, I'm going to tighten it up. Pretty tight. Tight enough that it's not going to slip backwards and forwards when I drill the other ones. So now I'm just going to have a look at the others and see if the drill bit will fit through so I can drill straight through. Job's good, isn't it? So I'll be able to just drill straight through on all of these. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line up the front and then there we go for it. So I'm just going to show you here where we drill through the other side of the bracket how the foot is sitting. Now you can see it just goes ever so slightly over the edge, but once that's clamped down, then the sort of seal underneath will close the gap. What I'm trying to work out is if that's the line of this one, it kind of hugs the edge of the roof, then I've got to match it up here. I'm just doing it by eye. So see here, it's not quite, it needs to go over this way slightly, but then you end up with quite a big gap here, but I'm guessing that when I screw that down, that will close that as well. And then the other thing that throws it is these seem to be set in slightly, so it's kind of hard to know how far over to go, so I'm just going to go for it and hope. So what I'm going to do before I screw this one down is put the rail on the other side and then put the roof bar across again, just to make sure. I can't imagine that a couple of mils is going to make much difference, but pretty annoying if the roof bar went through the gap and rather than sit on the rail, so I'll just try that now. So I've got my roof bar here. Yeah, that's annoying. There's a bit too much of a gap. way too much of a gap. I'll show you here. It's going right down the middle. That's a bit of a problem because I've screwed the back bracket in already. I know there's some rubber gaskets that have got to go on here, which will buy us a bit of tolerance, but I have to work out what to do now. I've just been scratching my head on this, and I've realised that there's quite a bit of play here. Must go in, I don't know, a fair distance, probably 60mm, 70mm. So I reckon if I can grab 15mm off each side to slide it back, that could be enough to reach where I've already screwed it. So what I'm going to do is just offer it up on the other rail over there that I've got it sitting on. And then if I slide this along, yeah, job's good. So, yeah, that'll still work. Thank goodness for that. So yeah, you've got a bit of tolerance, which is handy. And I think once it's all clamped in, I don't think that'll matter because it'll pinch it all together anyway. So yeah, it's pretty tight. So what I'm going to do now, panic over, is just line this up, which it looks like it pretty much is now, and then I'm going to go for it and drill. Hole number 2. So I'm going to bolt this one in now, and then I'm going to drill the other 2. One thing I did think of doing is putting a plate on the underside of here to spread the weight a bit like I've got on the hinge on the back, which I bought the strip, and I'm wondering if I should do it. It's pretty thick, this fiberglass, but I better be safe than sorry, so I think I will. I'm just going to show you the strip, and I'm going to cut it down, and I'm going to drill a hole through it, put it on the other side of here, and then go through, so it will just spread the weight of spread the load of the bolt a little bit. Bought this pretty thick, chunky bit of metal, and obviously we screwed through the hinge bracket on the roof, so that's kind of 2 plates, but I'm still going to need another 3 for each side, so I'm going to make them out of this. So I'm just going to divide this by 6, cut it down, and then drill a hole in the very centre of each piece. So the other thing I'm doing here is just taking off these sharp edges here, because I don't really want the canvas of the pop top getting caught on this, just in case it does, and then ripping it. So I'm doing it with an angle grinder. It's probably not the right tool to use, but basically taking off the sort of sharp corners. 3 drill bits later, I've got 3 plates with holes in. So I'm going to do the other 3 in a bit because I'm just fed up and bored of drilling. But that now will enable me to get the roof rail on. So I'm going to put this under the one that I've drilled earlier, and then get the first one at the front attached. Washer through this side. Plate on the other side, followed by washer, split washer nylock. So I've screwed that in, and now I'll show you what the underside looks like with the plate there. As you can see under here, that plate is going to spread the force of that little bolt. I'm just not convinced that if you just had a bolt and a washer on fiberglass, it would be that strong. So yeah, that's a pretty thick plate. That's going to spread the load quite a bit. So yeah, I'm pretty happy I did that. I think that was the right thing to do, albeit a bit of a pain in the bum, but there you go. So now what I'm going to do is drill these other 2. Should be nice and easy, these ones. So as you can see, it's the first rail on. I'm going to tighten up a little bit, but I'm going to do that at the very end once I've got the other side on as well. So basically, what I'm going to do is rinse and repeat. So drill the holes, drill those plates, great, and then get fixing. I've done the back hinge, I've drilled that already and put the bolt through. I'm just going to do these 1, 2, 3 here. So the thing I kind of struggle with is knowing sort of how tight to go. I mean, the washer's not bending under the force, but they're pretty tight. So yeah, I guess just got to go with it and we'll see. They'll either stay on or they won't. So now to the other 2 down here. Right, so that is everything with a bolt through it. So now what I'm going to do is go around and just tighten them all up, and then I'll show you what it looks like. There she is. 2 roof rails. I'm just going to pop these little plastic caps in the holes, and then I'm going to put the roof bars on, and yeah, then that's us done. Now we've got bolts coming through the top of the pop top. See, there's a danger that this canvas may well get ripped by them. So I was toying with just cutting the ends of the bolts off, but it's still gonna be left with a sharp bit. So I've gone online, I found some bolt covers. They're like little vinyl, nylon, bolt covers that can just slip over the end, so it just gives them a nice soft end. They're not gonna arrive until tomorrow, so probably what I'm gonna do is just stick some masking tape on for the moment. You can sort of see there how sharp they'd be. Stick through quite a long way. Just to sort of show you the underside now. So both sides are the same. I've got 3 plates and bolts, and then the last one at the hinge at the very back. Yeah, that's kind of it. So I'm going to stick some masking tape on these, and then I'll put the roof bars on. The instructions that came for these roof bars are worse than useless. So effectively the way I think they go together is how they go together. This little rubber gasket here, that goes into this slot here. You just pop it in. So that kind of creates the end that will sit on the rail. Then there's another little rubber bit here, and I think that goes on to there. So that will be the bit that kind of traps the underside of the roof rail. And then I think effectively the way that it goes is this slips onto here. This, I think, catches itself in there, and then there's going to be some kind of locking nut or something that goes through there that you'll tighten to effectively clamp that onto the bar. Just realised that this nut must go that way around because there's a little thing for it to sit in, so I guess when you're tightening from the other side, you expand it. So yeah, that kind of makes sense now. Success! Roof rails on, roof bars on, can wobble the van and nothing's coming off, so that's a good sign. Yeah, so all in all that took me 4 hours, but a lot of messing around, and there was nothing really online that explained how to do it, so quite a bit of trial and error. But yeah, hopefully this helps anyone else that's looking to fit roof rails, so non-VW roof rails. I'll link to them, to a T5. Shout if you've got any questions.